Hey guys, Kev here, and I wanted to just do a kind of ramble and talk a little bit. So, yesterday in my time, which was like New Year's Day, there was a little drama or controversy or whatever, because Joe over at Lancelot Leather posted about this mat, or his mats that he makes. He custom makes these mats. And he was kind of jabbing at me, and I think he was a little upset about a video I did, which was the best tool for the job, Disassembly mat. And I had spoken about this mat from Tinkerforce and said it was the best tool for the job, in my opinion, for me. I did state all that. And I think it just rubbed him the wrong way, because I did show this mat, and then I said, but this one's not the best for the job. This one is for me, right? And I was clear it was my opinion, but looking back on it, I can now see how that could be perceived. And if you're somebody who puts an assload of time, energy, blood, sweat, and tears into custom making something like this for somebody, you know, that could sting a little bit. So I'm trying to look at it from, his shoes. And then I also talked to him tonight, and we, hash things out, and everything's fine. So this isn't like trying to drum up drama or cause anything like that. This is nothing like that. But I wanted to talk about it because it just came to mind. I want to do a ramble. I want to talk about some other stuff. So I thought it'd be a good thing to bring up, and I wanted to use it as a background while I talked about it. So anyway, real quick, I just wanted to kind of say why I chose this mat over this mat, I guess, because I didn't really do that. I just said this is one mat that I love, and I love his work. I love the guy. But I think this one's the better mat for me, basically, is what I said. But I didn't explain it, so hey, why don't I do that? So first up, these are completely different animals, and that's a completely accurate thought. This apples to oranges here. They're both mats, trays, whatever. But, one is custom made and one is 3D printed. Now, Tinkerforce, they do take care in their products. This is 3D printed, and it's solid as all get out for being 3D printed and being like $30 or whatever this one will be. This is sort of a prototype. But you can see, you can see the machine or the print marks or whatever you call this stuff. I don't know. It's obviously not as clean as something that's metal or leather or whatever. And then they take the cork and they hand kind of fit it in. They cut it and hand fit it in here. And I think it looks fantastic. But I love the size of this. And the other one I have from them, that's the large. It's large, but you can tell this is obviously way bigger. Yeah, I like the size of this and the way it kind of fits into my setup for recording. So that's one of the biggest factors in this, is that what works for me the best for recording videos, because I do a lot of videos with the mat or the tray. And that actually plays a big part, which is not going to matter to most of you, right? Most of you are just using the mat to disassemble stuff, so you're not going to have to worry about those aspects. But they're important to me, and why I have one on the table a lot more, if that makes sense. But anyway, the size, and then it all sits down into this kind of crevice right here. Those are really the two things that I appreciate about this mat that this one doesn't necessarily have, okay? So let me just put that out there. And for the people out there watching, this is going to be $30. So, ish. The large one, this one, is $21. Okay, so I'm just guessing 30 because it's going to be a little bigger or whatever, right? And I love this one as well. It's the one I've had for like a year. Absolutely adore it, but I got this larger one and I like having more space. But anyway, I have a video all about this mat, so but the price point might make more sense for you, right? Now, talking about this mat right here, you could see it's had plenty of love, right? I have beat the shit out of this thing in a good way, right? Like it's kind of grown with me in the channel and whatnot. And I don't know if you'd say maybe I outgrew it a little bit in the sense that, like, you know, trying to dial in how my videos look and stuff like that. And the way, the size of this, right, is a little too big for the area that I like to record on. But when I got it, I think I had a setup where I was higher up the camera. And so I actually asked for this size because I thought it would fill the whole camera area. Now, I'm an amateur, so I'm an idiot, right? Like, I didn't realize, obviously, a square or a rectangle is not going to work in a situation where you're trying to capture the area of a camera. Like, and then I have to, like, zoom in to try to, or zoom out to try to get the perfect lineup. And that, it makes it difficult. It's easier to just have the smaller tray that just fits in there and have a black background. You know what I mean? But I didn't know that when I had this made. And then the way the light bounces off of this. And then my camera. The biggest factor in this, honestly, the reason I switched mats was because of my camera. You can see how it, like, the white balance kind of comes off. And then I slide my hand in. Look, now it looks normal, like it should. Out, in. And that just got so frustrating over time, having to deal with that. I would start leaving things on the mat so that it wouldn't do that. And then it would still kind of do it. And it just got to a point where I was like, I'm just going to start using this other mat. And then I just got used to that. And then, you know, and I love that mat. So, or tray. But it has nothing to do with this mat not being amazing. This mat is amazing. So I just wanted to make that clear. And I wanted to obviously let you guys know if any of you were in tune with what was going on. It wasn't really a drama, but, like, Joe and I are good. There's no issues there. I just wanted to clear the air on that in case there's anybody, you know, who cares. And then I also just wanted to talk about it because I really do love this mat. And I've had it so long, like, it's kind of fun to think about the things I've had for a long time. Like, I got this in the spring of 2021. I remember because I unboxed it on a live stream. I actually got the first one of these. So Joe and I worked together to kind of design the pockets and have the coaster here and everything and the size and whatnot. And that was a lot of fun going back and forth and talking about it and figuring it out. And then I unboxed it, and it was just an amazing feeling to see your logo like this on here. And then, you know, more and more and more and more and more and more and more people got them. They're all over YouTube now. A lot of channels have a mat like this of some sort. A lot of them just got a plain mat without pockets, which is probably smart if you're gonna be recording videos on it. And I'm sure plenty of people who don't have channels got one, and I'm so glad that that's the case because this mat is amazing and he puts a lot of love into it. You can see the stitching is just incredible, and it's held up incredibly well. Like, if you look at here's the back of it. You can see how, like, how good the quality is on this. Thick, it's got these rivets, the stitching. I mean, there's his logo in the center there, if you want to check it out. So, just a really sick mat, really awesome piece. And I don't know, I just kind of wanted to reflect on it since it's been coming up, obviously. So just something I wanted to talk about, and I just wanted to make it clear that the main reason you don't see it as much anymore is just because it doesn't work for my video recording setup stuff as well. So it's not the mat, you know, and it's certainly not Joe. I love Joe. Always have. I've had tons of products from him that I've absolutely adored. I used to get a lot of coasters made. Back when I drank a lot, I was selling coasters with the D10 Divo logo and some Lefty logo and stuff. I have slips. If you guys need slips, specifically clip slips, he's working on, last I talked to him, he's working on getting more clips so you can do more of these. But this is my favorite clip slip. You guys all know, and I'm not going to sit here and act like it doesn't exist. I love the Northwoods Leatherworks slips for my Jack Wolf knife for slip joints. I just love how he cuts it at an angle and it doesn't have the flaps, and that's a preference thing, right? A lot of people like to have their slip joint fully covered, you know, and that's where a slip from Joe is going to be perfect. And I use this slip whenever I have a slimmer slip joint come in. Always use this slip whenever I want to carry one without having to worry about the it being down in my pocket. If I want a clip slip, 100% always go to this one from Joe. So he makes really good slips, and he has awesome wallets. I've been using a wallet of his in my truck. It has all my medical information and shit. And whenever I go to a doctor's appointment or a pharmacy or whatever, that's the wallet I grab, and it has that information in there. I've been using that for like over a year, and it's fantastic. So wallets, coasters, trays, mats, all this shit. Oh, he does really good valet trays. I have one right over there. I should grab it. Hang on. Okay. I put all my hanks in here that I need to wash. Just a beautiful tray. He made this one for me, which is really cool. It's got the rivets right there. That leather, I mean, just look at that sexy ass leather. So, let me put that away. But yeah, this is really good. And the cool thing about this, I took this on a trip a couple of times. You can loosen this, take those out, right? And then this folds flat. You can put it in a bag or whatever. Just keep the rivets with you. And then when you get to wherever you're going, you can put it together. And then, boom, you got a valet tray on your nightstand at your hotel or your Airbnb. All right. So, if you're into the... I don't know how to put it the best way. What I think Joe really thrives at, obviously the quality is fantastic, but if you're into that like whiskey and leather and cigar smoking and that kind of shit, stuff, sorry, I think you'll really, really like his products. That's not to say there's not other stuff he does really well, but that's kind of like the market, you know what I mean? I don't know how to explain that the best way, but hopefully that makes sense. It's got that vibe to it, right? And which is really cool. So anyway, just wanted to talk about that. Shout out to Joe over at Lancelot Leather. Yeah. All right. So then I want to talk about some knives that have come in recently. And just kind of, you know, just ramble. I have videos on these already, so if you're, you know, it's not going to be anything new or whatever. It's just a kind of a ramble video. So I'm carrying the Golden Design Standard here. I have a prototype, and I don't think I'm going to do a full review. I already did a very, very thorough unboxing, I would say. And I would prefer to just move it along to the next guy to be able to check it out versus hanging on to it, if that makes sense. I can get a good gauge on a knife pretty quick, so it just makes sense for me to do that. And it has nothing to do with the knife. It's not like if I love the knife when I get the prototype, I want to keep it for months. You know what I mean? I'm not that kind of dude, because I see these things from both sides, right? Because of Divo knives and whatnot, I know what it's like to have your prototypes out there. You have 2 or 3 prototypes going around, maybe, and you want to hit a bunch of channels. You're not going to tell people to move along quickly, but you kind of want them to. You know what I mean? So, like, if I can get the video done quickly and get it out the door, I always try to do that for people, and keep things moving. So that's one reason I got this knife. I immediately knew I had to have one, and that was that. Like, I can highly recommend it, and I want one. Not much more for me to do with the prototype. You know what I mean? I'm not the guy testing the steel, so, like, it doesn't matter, right? I'm not going to long-term durability test the knife either. See if I can get it. Ah, yeah. Anyway, I ended up pre-ordering the gold dark matter one. So, really cool knife. That's the Golden Design Works Standards, and then, or Design Standard. Why did I say Golden Design Works? Just Golden Designs Standard, I think. Then I also today got in the Transparent Knives Reblade of the 80-20.5. Totally forgot to order the clip. I meant to order a Lynch clip. I had it in my cart, and I don't think I checked out. I wanted to get the satin clip that'll match the hardware. I just think this Stonewash one looks a little off. I mean, it would work. I also have a black one or two. That reminds me, if anybody out there is left-handed and needs a Demco clip, I have a couple of black Cerakoted ones from Lynch. I have one of those, I forget the brand, but it's on Etsy or something. They sell them. They're kind of weird, really thin. But I have that. And then I have this one, obviously. I'm going to get the satin one. So if anybody's out there left-handed and needs a Demco clip, you know, hit me up. We can work something out. Maybe cover shipping or something like that. But, yeah, so I got this from Brian. And first, I just want to say, Brian's a great dude. Really enjoyed getting to know Brian over the last couple of weeks, even, you know, with the circumstances being what they are. But it's really cool to see somebody out there doing these reblades because I got to say, it's the biggest detriment of the knife. You know, the 20.5 is fantastic, but, you know, OS 10 and then the geometry and the heat treat we were seeing, unfortunately, you know, I love Demco and I love their products. It's just, you know, it seems the 20.5s weren't as good as, you know, maybe people wanted. I don't know. Even I could tell the OS 10A was soft, and I'm like the least steel nerdy person in terms of use, you know. But anyway, the 20s, the in-house ones, the US ones are much better from what I understand. I mean, I've had a 20CV and an M3, 20CV and a 3B version. I've never had an issue with those, but then again, I didn't, you know, test them enough. But like I said, on the OS 10, I used it enough to know. So, I don't know. But anyway, the spring is always soft on these, which is really unfortunate. I just hate that about the... Like, I wish somebody would either come out with, invent, tell me where I can get a stronger spring, and I would love to just see what that would do. It might cause issues, like on disengaging. Maybe it wouldn't fall as much, or it would obviously make the lock harder to pull. But right now, the lock's very easy to pull. But, like, you know, I just don't like that you can do that and have the blade come out and whatever. But I will say the way Brian set this hole up, it catches my finger really well, right? And I just fire it. I mean, yes, I have to be, I guess, a little more deliberate compared to, I mean, I'm just flicking, right? If you're not, like this one I could probably fail if I just do the push detent game. Close. This one I could for sure, you know, just fail. But if you just flick, it fires. And that's why a lot of people love this knife, because of the fidgety nature of it in general. It's very easy to use, if that makes sense. Like, it's easy on the hands and the fingers. It doesn't, there's no pain associated with this knife when flicking. And that can be a factor if you're a fidget person. You know, lock bars can be annoying. Holes can rip your fingers apart, like shit like that. This just doesn't do any of that. But anyway, Brian killed it. This is a 64.7 HRC, which is, I think, really, really good for Magna Cut. This is Magna Cut too, by the way, but this is just a prototype. The production's M390. I'm about to pull out a third Magna Cut knife. That's kind of weird. But yeah, it flicks really well. I really like it. Blade to handle ratio is what it is. The way I don't know what he did, but it does kind of work. It works on this. I don't really go, oh, that blade to handle ratio. I feel like on the Demco Shark's Foot, it might have even been shorter. It just felt so short for the handle. This feels better. And, I mean, you can tell the blade gets, I mean, he's definitely got room for a little more tip. So, you know, I would maybe want another however much that is. Can you see? I don't know. There. See if you can get a good eye on that. I would want that little bit taken up, but it's very minimal. Where I feel like the Shark's Foot, it's a lot more than that. And it's mostly because of the handle shape for the blade, right? Because it was basically designed to be a clip point, and then they did a shark's foot on top of that. So that's kind of why. So I know a lot of people are probably counting the days until I sell this because of the detent thing. And I will say, if I do ever sell it, it's not going to be because of this blade or anything Brian did. And most likely, I won't sell it for a while because of what he did. So I really like it. I'm digging it. I actually flick it real easy. I don't feel let down by that flick. Like, it feels satisfying, honestly. I can just fire this bitch. The thumb flick is not great. I have to kind of aim down to get a good thumb flick. If I'm aiming up, it's kind of got to wrist it. Maybe I just had to get used to it. No, see, I just can't. I don't know. It's not the best thumb flicker. Slow roll is fine, but that reverse flick is where it's at. And then you have the really cool textured titanium scales that came with it. It was pricey. I mean, it was $650, so it wasn't cheap, but totally worth it in my opinion. It is dead nut centered. That was a fun trip in the unboxing, which was not his fault. It came centered, and I still, like, in my head, I'm like, is it off? But it's just hard to see. It's so shiny and shit. Like, it's hard to get a good gauge on if it's centered or not, but it's centered enough that I'm happy with it, but it looks good to me. And man, does it fire out. So anyway, this is TK number 30, I believe it says. 30? So I don't know if that's the 30th reblade, but it's pretty cool if it is. And it's got those sick grind lines. You know, I love that. Hollow grind. I did think the hollow would feel a little deeper, but I mean, I think he said it was 8 thousandths behind the edge, so I'm not sure what I'm looking for. I think it might just be the stock isn't super thick, or he just knows what he's doing and it comes down to a thin edge. Let's measure it since he claims 8 thousandths behind the edge. Let's see what we get. $10. Liar. I'm just kidding. 8. 9. Yep. I believe it. And of course the calipers I have aren't going to be perfect, so guessing what he got is more accurate. Yeah, that, I mean, it feels stupid sharp. It just looks badass, guys. Seriously. Demco knives. One thing I don't love is this wampum PA on here. I get that the customs have that, but this is made in Taiwan. I almost said Japan. It's made in Taiwan, so it's kind of weird to have that on there. But blade shape kind of reminds me of a Buzz and a Stout together, so that's one reason I chose this blade shape. So anyway, that's the Transparent Knives Reblade. And then another knife I recently did a review on is the RR Standard. So you have the Golden Design Standard and the RR Standard. And man, these guys and their milling, like, so this is Magna Cut too. This one, he said the over-under 62 HRC on these are from Best Tech, that's pretty good coming from Best Tech, knowing what I know. And he said the ones he tested came back at 62.5. So that seems legit right there. And obviously we got a little theme here. Titanium milled with Magna Cut and well, I was going to say belt satin, but an uncoated blade, I guess. And man, this knife was one of those knives that I just did not, when I first saw it, I was like, ooh, that's kind of, you know, I don't know if I love the look of that. And it just kind of like kept growing on me. And then I got one to review, the prototype, and I don't know what it is. I just really like the knife, and I really like the guy as well. ATR, he goes by ATR. I know his name, but I don't think he wants me throwing it out there, so I'm gonna not do that. But yeah, and then I have a milled clip. Comes with a wire clip, but look at that. Perfectly centered. Just, I mean, it's a beautiful looking clip, in my opinion. I love this black hardware on here. That's the kind of combo I like on stuff. Black with the tie. And you got this beautiful milling lines. Again, you got Magna Cut. Action for days. I can even lefty reverse flick it now with this clip. It's easier. I can just get up on that clip, flick it out. Very comfortable. This one I could do without the choil, but it does work very well. We are locked up, rock solid on all of these. Man, just a good knife. Love supporting good people. A lot of good people. And that was one of the things I want to talk about in this video. Is the boutique brands, the small business guys. Like, that's who I love supporting, and that's what it seems like our community is growing in, right? We have more and more of these guys, and I feel like some people look at that as a negative, and to me, it's like the greatest thing ever. Because you have people like Joe from Lancelot Leather, and Blaze from Golden Design, and Brian from Transparent Knives, and ATR from Knife Standards, and it's just so cool because they're part of the community. They've been a part of the community before they started their company. So the way you have to look at that is they're trying to take their hobby and turn it into a business. They're trying to just express their creativity and their passion for the hobby. They didn't start a company to make knives, to sell a bunch of knives and just be a knife company, right? It's kind of like me with Divo, if you know me. I don't want to really talk about me, but it's a passion thing, and you're so excited about it, and you get this thought in your head, and it plants a fucking seed, and that seed grows. And what that idea is, like Inception, guys, is the idea that you could take your hobby, the thing you love, the thing you have so much passion for in the world, and you could make that your job. You wouldn't have to work your 9 to 5. You wouldn't have to do all this, whatever. You could make that your job. That is the dream right there. At least for me, that's the dream. I'm not putting words in any of these people's mouths. I'm just, some of these guys, it might just be a side thing forever. That's what they want to do on the side. They just had one knife. They wanted to get this design out there. And, they got prototypes. People liked it. And they're like, fuck it, let's do it. Who knows? But for me, it's that seed, man, the dream of going full-time knife stuff, right? And what you need to understand is, because a lot of people look at everything in terms of like greed and money, and they think that we're all out there to just make a quick buck on this and whatever. Dude, if I could just make enough money on this to supplement what I make now, 9 to 5, for the rest of my life, I would do it. I would be so fucking happy with just that, because it would mean that I'm doing what I love full time, and that's the point I want to get across. People need to stop looking at it in this way where it's like, man, they're just out for the money. No, it's not. I mean, I've talked to every one of these guys, and none of them give me those vibes, guys. Here's another one that I recently got in that really, really impressed me, and I love the guy behind. The Knoll Knives Grace. This is a fabulous knife. This is a prototype as well. This is a collaboration with Corbin Steelworks, and this is really cool and unique, and no, it's not my usual style of knife. But I'm even questioning whether I'll pick one up on the pre-order because of how good it is. But 2, it's just unique and different. And sometimes you need a little flair, you need a little something different. I don't know if I'll ultimately do it just because of the design language not being my style. But I may move these up a little bit here so we can talk. But the Grace here is done by Riot, extremely well made. I mean, you can see all the chamfers on everything, and I've talked about this in my videos, but really, really well done. Ergos work very well. I mean, left-handed, they're good. Right-handed, they're good. You get a little bit of a sharp point on the clip. I don't know how that would affect some people. It doesn't affect me, but lock bar access is good. Studs are good. You got that beautiful belt satin. You guys know I love a belt satin. Compound grind on that. I mean, these are all kind of similar-ish if you think about it. I don't know. Maybe not. But Sean over at Knoll Knives is another guy, man. Like, it's his dream, right? It's his passion. Maybe it starts as a side thing, and then it's kind of how it was for Divo. Like, it started as a side thing. I just wanted, the stout. I just thought it'd be cool to get a knife out there. Now we have like 7 models in the works, and it's just kind of like it grows. The passion builds in you, and then you want to express creativity and whatnot. And man, Sean's killing it with that over at Knoll Knives. Everything he does, it's like he's fucking Midas over there. Everything he touches turns to fucking gold. And good for him. I'm happy for him. I'm proud of him. Like, it's another thing we all need to learn is like, yeah, there's more and more companies, there's more and more people, but there's enough room for everyone. And if we support each other, it can only benefit us. Like, I don't know how else to express that, but like, yeah, I'm happy for all of these guys. But anyway, that's the Knoll Knives Grace prototype. Really cool knife. If you're into this design, like if you really liked the Arcane Necronaut, like this is right up your alley. I mean, it's got this crazy swordfish tanto. That thing is gnarly. Really, really cool knife. And then along those same lines, one I've raved about is the GOM from Renegade Provisions Co. So I actually paid for and ordered a third one today. Sorry, another one. I've had 4 at this point once I get that one. But this is the only one I currently have in my possession. I've sold the others. I kind of cannibalized one to make this one, but I have one coming that's Bead Blast. So it's basically the Bead Blast with Black Micarta satin one, but then I got the hardware swap. So it's going to have a black pivot and collar, and then black hardware and clip and probably backspacer. With a satin blade. So just a little bit of a different, kind of the opposite of this, but same satin. I can't do the PVD blade. And then I also ordered a hardware kit. So basically got bead blast collars and a hardware set and clip. And that way I can maybe, if I can do it right, swap this one out. So I can do all the hardware swapped on this. And then I'll have kind of the black with bead blast, and then I'll have the bead blast with black, and it'll kind of be the opposites. I think that's pretty cool. So, yeah, really digging this knife. It's just, and this is one of my favorite designs. And Chris, another just fantastic dude. Like, it's another one of those boutique brand guys. He's had a Hank company for a long time. Best Hanks in the game, in my opinion. I haven't tried everybody's Hanks, and when I say that stuff, guys, I'm just saying it's my, it's my favorite off the cuff kind of shit. Like, and I love most people's shit, if that makes sense. Anyway, but Hanks, he does leather goods, candles he has now. He's got different knives. He's got all types of, he's got knife storage shit. Check that out. He's got some cool knife storage cases. But that's another one that comes to mind. And I'm literally just grabbing the knives that I love, and it all tends to be this kind of stuff. The Brian Brown Knives Jaeger M. Brian Brown is a custom knife maker who, he can't make a million knives, and he wants to make really high-end custom stuff. So he put Riyadh on the case, and, they're doing his production stuff. Or not all of it, but most of it. And just a fabulous knife, right? What a wonderful knife. And, that money is supplementing him being able to make a better shop and do cool stuff on the custom side and live his life, and maybe live a nice life, whatever. He's got a sick design and people love it. We should be happy about that. This is such a good knife. I sold my other one because I just always came back to this one. And I didn't need to. I needed to, but like, I didn't need to financially, if that makes sense. I bought some custom knives recently, or some expensive stuff like this, and a custom lefty, and it just made sense to move on. But this one just, it's more unique in my opinion with the golf putter. It's the Fanatic Edge edition. And then I got the Mokutai or Zirkutai backspacer and clip. And this is just one of the best knives ever. It just has some kind of factor to it, and it just is. And then you got stuff like Craig Brown doing the mini FSD. Another guy who I believe was an engineer, engineer, and started this as a side thing. And now, I don't know, I believe he's full-time knife stuff. I mean, he makes a lot of knives, so I would hope so, but who knows? I wouldn't hope, you know what I mean. Just beautiful knife. You guys know I love this piece. The mini FSD is what I've crowned the greatest knife of all time. And I guess I should state the greatest folding knife of all time, or whatever you want to say, because it didn't win Knife of the Year. The Venom Jack did. But, that's because those are slip joints, and I can get away with differentiating them. This is just such an amazing knife. I mean, just come on. Brown knives. And guys, I have raved up and down and side to side about Jack Wolf knives, so I'm not going to bring one out. You guys know I love Ben. I love Jack Wolf, but another example of the boutique brand thing, and another example of people crying about the price, and, we must be going to the bank with all that money. Guys, listen, he's not making that much money off those. He's making enough money to keep the business going and make more knives and stuff, but he's not rolling in it, guys. He has to pay an OEM to make these unbelievably high quality slip joints that are hand fitted in many ways. And then he has to pay the dealers. And those dealers get 30%, guys. So take your price, take your $300 that you're paying, take 30% of that. Okay? That's not actually how it works, but they're getting a 30% margin. Sorry, I'm an idiot too. So I doubt he's making as much as the dealers do. He probably makes less than the dealers do. So if you want to talk shit on the dealers. Why are they taking such big margins on knives? I'm joking. Don't do that. The dealers are an incredible part of this industry. Another group of people we should shout out here are the dealers. Blue Creek Knives. Brian is an amazing dude. Justin over at White Mountain Knives. Great dude. Urban EDC. I love Urban EDC. I know they can be divisive in the community a little bit. I love what they're doing. The tailor-made stuff, the way that they're curating, and it's a community over there. And if you don't like that, that's fine. But they're great people, and they're doing really cool stuff. But yes, they have to make money. All these people have to make money. So they got to sell shit, and they got to sell it for a price that makes sense. But none of these people are like running to the bank with your money. Like, they're making it expensive enough that they can make enough money to survive and maybe make a little extra because it has to be worth it, right? But they're also balancing that against charging too much because people are always complaining about price and whatnot, and things are getting more expensive. So, like, it's just a natural thing where we're always talking about price and shit. Anyway, dealers are awesome. There's a lot more than what I just named. I'm just, Austin over at Traditional Pocket Knives is a freaking awesome dude. And the list goes on and on and on, but, yeah, I don't know what I was getting at with this fucking video, but, you also have people like Nathan's Knives. Nathan is one of the coolest people in this community, and, he does mod work sort of on the side. I mean, it's a side hustle, so to speak. I don't think he makes all that much money doing it. I think he really enjoys it, and I think that's why he does it mostly, but he could answer that better than I could. He made this custom scale for my Evo 2.0, and you guys have seen a lot of this lately, and clip. I didn't even know this was coming, and he made a clip. By the way, a lot of people have wondered how this clip works and thought that it wouldn't. It works really fucking well. It has operated just like any clip I would expect it to be. It goes in pocket, comes out of pocket, sits there great. Haven't had any issues. Now, long-term durability of a clip like this, who knows? We'll find out. I always have the other clip, but I really like it. I took it off for a while, and then I was like, nope, that needs to be on there, so I put it back on. He also was kind enough to strengthen the detent attach. and it's a game changer. It really, really changed it. I mean, it makes it an enjoyable flick, where before it was tolerable because of the overall fantasticness of the knife in general. It was tolerable as is, but now it's a very snappy flick. And look, that is totally different. It sucks it in with a nice click. I mean, I'll try to feel it. Nope. Still, I have this tightened, by the way. I tightened it a lot because I don't want to lose my thumbnail again. So, but you can see here, it still drops. And if I loosen that a touch, trust me, it's still the same exact guillotine it was before. Dead nuts on the centering. I mean, he just crushed this. I mean, look at that. Look at that pivot collar. Like, man, I can't say enough about it. And he's just a great dude. So we have people in the community who spend their time modding the existing knives, right? Knife modders and Cap City Creations and people like Nathan. Rocky Top Custom. Sorry, I always want to say Rocky Mount. I don't know why. It's just a fucking brain thing. Parker's a good dude. Just so many people in this community that contribute in some way or another. We can all fucking support each other and back each other. You should see these guys. You know, people are worried about stupid shit while, you know, Rocky Top Customs Parker, and you know, he's getting tips and stuff from Richie over at Knife Modders, right? My good buddy Brent over at Backpack B gets tips and learns from Parker and from Richie, and all these people work together. You know, they help each other out with, you know, certain processes. Like, you know, maybe one of them sharpens stuff for one guy, or blasts stuff for somebody. You know, they all help each other out. They're not competing in the way that people make it out to be. There's enough to go around, and we can all support each other. And I don't know. I have no fucking point to this video. I'm just rambling, but hey, man, I'm running with it. I'm running with this shit. So one more and then I'm done, because it is what it is. Winterblade Factor. So Brian over at Winterblade is another dude, really cool guy. I've enjoyed all my interactions with Brian, and he has another knife that kind of matches my theme here. But another guy who I believe went full-time recently from his day job to do Winterblade, and he sold an absolute fuck ton of these, and he did another pre-order in the meantime, and these are now shipping, and he has the other one in production because you guys supported that, and now he does this full-time. I'm pretty sure that's the case. That's the kind of shit we want to see. Like, do you not want to see a guy who is as inventive as Brian is doing knife shit? Or do you want him off doing whatever the fuck he was doing before? I want him doing knife shit, you know? Okay, I'm done. But I love you guys. I truly do. I love all of you. I hope you know that. You know, I may have a bad day here and there, like everybody, and maybe I snap at you in the comments, or I try to be very nice and read comments twice before I say shit, but I am gonna screw up. I'm gonna read something wrong. Just call me out on it. Hit me up. You know, I'm always open to discussion. That's kind of the thing here that I wanted to. I did not have a thing I wanted to talk about, but we can all always talk. We can all always support each other. So if you have any questions, if you need me, hit me up. You know where to find me. Yeah. Anyway, I got some cool shit here, huh? 45 minutes later, I got some cool shit in the house right now. Not all of it's mine, but most of it is. And to the companies that send me prototypes to check out, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these have sent me prototypes before. or right now to check out, which is very cool. So anyway, support each other, do what you can for one another. Don't be a D-bag, and I love you guys. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later.